Welcome to the Predictable Revenue Podcast, where sales leaders teach you what's working for them and how you can build it yourself.
This episode of the Predictable Revenue Podcast is brought to you by our sales coaching and consulting services. Are you looking to create repeatable, scalable, and predictable revenue? We've helped thousands of companies grow their business with tailored expert advice backed by testing to ensure they establish the best practices that'll work for them. Head over to bit.ly/predictable revenue coaching to learn more. If you aren't closing as much business as you'd like after you send out your proposal, you're probably getting the proposal itself wrong. I'm your host, Sarah Hicks, and today on the Predictable Revenue Podcast, I'm going to be chatting to an expert about how to write proposals that sell. He's a professional speaker, published author, and an award-winning sales professional with over 2 decades of experience in sales and marketing. He's the founder CEO of the 7 Secrets Center of Sales and Marketing, and his book, The 7 Secrets to Selling More by Selling Less, is an award-winning bestseller on Amazon. Having sold over $95 million of product in his career, he has trained hundreds of sales consultants during his career, and he's here to teach you a thing or two. Allan Langer, welcome to the Predictable Revenue Podcast.
Sarah, thank you. That's quite an introduction. Did I write all that?
Stole little tidbits here and there. Yeah, of course. Well, we're really excited to have you on. Let's just dive right into it. Allan, what are people doing wrong with proposals right now?
The biggest thing people are doing wrong, and this is not only in proposals, but it's usually in their marketing and their websites too, but focusing on proposals, is the majority of proposals I see, they talk about themselves first. You do not want to talk about yourself at all for a while. People want to know how you can solve their problem that they're having. And if you start the first page of your proposal with, thanks for meeting with us, or thanks for having a conversation. My grandfather started the business 25 years ago in a green barn, and now we're located here and we have 35 awards, and I'm gone. I'm lost. I don't care about any of that. I spoke to you for a reason, and that reason is, how can you solve my problem? So that's the biggest mistake, is people start the proposals talking about themselves.
Okay. And why do you think it's so common to do that? How did people end up with this assumption that that was the right thing to do?
I think it's it's sort of like one of those "it's always been done" kind of thing. It makes sense. It's like when you meet someone at a networking function, you kind of automatically, human nature, start talking about yourself rather than listening. It's the same thing with proposals, and it's the same thing in sales. You want to get your features out so much. You want to, this is what we can do. This is our, look at all our machinery, and look at our building, and look at our awards. You want to talk about yourself, thinking that that's going to help someone make a decision to hire you, when in reality, the only reason they would hire you is if they feel comfortable and they trust you to solve the issue that they're having. So you can talk about, you don't have to mention yourself at all for a long time in your proposal, because once you hook the person into saying, "Ooh, I think this is the company I want to work with because they're talking about my problem," then you can solidify it all with your credentials.
Okay, got it. So we mentioned in the intro, of course, that if companies aren't closing as many deals as they think they should be after that proposal has gone out, that the problem could, of course, be the proposal. How do you know, though, just as kind of a first step, whether it's the proposal that is potentially doing you a disservice or something else is wrong?
I would challenge everyone to look at your proposal. The majority of companies that send out proposals are using a template. They're using some sort of software to do this. And so all of your proposals are going to be relatively the same, where you're changing the company information of the person the company that you're proposing to, and then you're changing the pricing. Revamp those proposals, and instead of the part that you're talking about yourself, that goes to the end. And that first paragraph, it's really called the hook, but in my proposal, the very first thing they see is the headline that says, "Based on our conversation, ... And then I go right into what we spoke about. After speaking with you on Tuesday, you told me that your copy machines need to copy at twice the speed. I can understand that, and I know how you feel. Then you got to bring empathy into it. I've dealt with other companies that have had slow copy machines. It leads to meetings that aren't done on time. It leads to this, it leads to that. You're just one soft punch after another of this is the problem. And I listened to you and I heard that. And then you can say, I've dealt with this. Sometimes in a sales proposal, what I do is I say, I've been there. I've struggled with sales, but now I've fixed it and now I can help you. So you kind of want to say, I've been there. I understand. We've dealt with companies before who have done this, which is using social proof. And then you can mention a little bit about, I've helped, 350 other companies to do this. This is how we can help. And then you get into your proposal. You still don't want to talk about yourself too much, but you kind of want to make them feel good that you understood their problem, you listened to them, you have the experience to help them, and then you get into the rest of your proposal. That needs to be the first thing that the company reads.
Right. Absolutely. And a lot of what you kind of believe around the proposal ties into Donald Miller's story brand.
Correct.
Tell us about that connection.
So the Donald Miller story brand concept is, it's very simple. His tagline is, if you confuse, you lose. So many companies, when you look at websites or marketing material, they try to get cute. They try to use taglines and they try to use things, but they don't tell anybody what they sell. And you can go to 100 websites, and I would say 85 of them, you're going to have a hard time within 8 seconds to figure out what they're actually selling. Mm-hmm. And if a customer doesn't understand what you're selling within 5 to 8 seconds on your website, they're off the website. They're gone. It's the same thing with a proposal. If let's say a company put out, they spoke to 5 different companies and they have 5 different proposals, and every single one of them started with, this is about my company and these are the awards we've won. And then your proposal talked about, after our conversation, these are the struggles I heard you're having. Well, which proposal automatically jumps off the page at you? So Donald Miller talks about, you attack the problem that you solve first, not your product and not your service. Mm-hmm. Forget about features. People don't buy features. People buy benefits. They buy emotion. And so many proposals focus on features that's where you're just going to be one in another pile of other proposals.
Yeah, makes sense. Well, we've talked about that first, what needs to be right up top, right at the top of your proposal. You've got the based on our conversation piece. And as you mentioned, kind of soft reminders of here are all the pains you're experiencing and here are kind of the negative results that are the impact of that issue. Mm-hmm. Then and only then can you start to dive into how you're going to help. So take us through the kind of step-by-step how you think the best proposals are structured after that initial recap of the pains and the conversations. What comes next?
So what comes next is, I'm going to give you a small tip and then tell you what comes next. So one of the other things just to keep in mind is avoid using what we call inside language or inside terminology. You could be a tech person and the term, like a CRM or, like one of those anagram terms is very familiar to you. But if you're talking to a nail salon and you use that term, they have no idea what you're talking about. So be very careful and not to use inside language in any part of your proposal. But the next step is after you basically show them that you understood their problem and I have the experience to help you, then they want to know how. They want to know, okay, what's next? And you're going to show them a very simple plan. And the human brain likes things in order and they like things in 3. So you're going to show a 3-step plan on how you're going to help them. And that could be, let's say you're buying, I don't know, the plan is you're selling them a software package like Photoshop. The plan is purchase the package, go through the tutorials, have awesome photos, things like that. It's very, very simple. So for me, it would be choose the package that you want, because I usually send three different packages, confirm the times we're going to meet, watch your sales increase. Mm-hmm. So again, it's almost silly when you think about how simple it is, but it makes the potential customer feel like, okay, now I know what I'm going to do. This is our plan. And then from there, you can get a little more detailed inside the plan, like what each step is going to be, and I can help people with that. And then from there, the step becomes positioning your product or service, not as a cost, but as an investment. Mm-hmm. And we hear that all the time, that, what your investment should be. Don't write price, don't write cost. It should be investment. And that's not a new concept. But what people don't do properly is you want to make sure that they know that not using you is going to cost you more money than using you.
Right.
So they need to know there's a success for using you, and then there's also a failure. So you can continue going down the same path and having slow copy machines, and the result could be the problems you're going to continue to have. Or if we tackle this together, we're going to solve this, and this is the success you're going to have as the customer.
Okay, I have two questions. The first one on that 3-point plan is the kind of structure of that 3-point plan, the sort of like get started kind of onboarding during the engagement and result, or like what exactly breaks up those 3 stages of this plan?
So you want the plan to take them from the beginning to the success part. So let's say you have three products to choose from, or 3 packages to choose from. Step 1 of the plan is choose the, and I have a little introduction, like it says, I have a quote by Benjamin Franklin. Failure to plan is, I forget what the quote says, but it's about how planning helps you be successful. And then I write a little paragraph. I want all my customers to be crystal clear on what the next steps would be and how we're going to get you to solve your problem. Step 1, choose the package that fits what you want to do perfectly. Step 2, organize the times we're going to meet together and who that's going to be. And again, now you can be specific toward the conversation, whether 5 people have to be in the meeting or just 1. And then that 3rd step is always the success. Watch your sales soar, enjoy, see your bottom line increase, something like that. So it's really just a simple, pick what you need to do to get your problem solved. Let's figure out how we're going to do that logistically. And here's the success you're going to have.
Got it. Okay. And then the second question I had, let's see if I can remember it. It was about I don't know. It was a good question. It was something about there were going to be good details.
Was it about the investment? For the investment portion?
Before that.
Okay.
Before that. So we've got our 3-point plan.
Yeah.
Written it down. 3-point plan. And then after that, we can go into a little bit of I remember. Okay. My question is, so you're talking about there's the success, which is, if they move forward with you, and then there's the failure, which is if they continue on with their past, what they're doing currently. Do you state that explicitly? Are there kind of visualizations that you'd include in that?
Yeah.
Like, how do you present that?
You can state it specifically without sounding like an asshole or arrogant. I usually say, I congratulate people in my proposals that, the first step to moving forward or being more successful is understanding that you have a problem. The second step is to do something about it. Congratulations for being at the second step. Let's do this together. I always kind of put that kind of terminology in my proposal because I want them to feel good about that they're doing something to really help themselves or their company. Along that line, you can then point out, we can do this together and get you to success, or you can continue to have the struggles that we discussed. Kind of your choice. It's a little bit of a tough love, but it's also not being arrogant. And it's just like, it's your choice. You can use me or someone else, but you need to do something.
You need to get roof. To the
right. You can continue to. You can ignore your leaky roof and still have a leaky roof, or you can do something about it. I'm glad you're here to do something about it. And I'm here. Hopefully I'll be able to help you with that. So there's a subtle way to do that.
Makes sense. And then kind of along that, the line of visualizations, what do you think about images, graphs, like, I don't know, ROI, measurements, that kind of stuff?
Yeah. What you just said something very important that I forgot to mention. So images and graphs, I think are important if they're important to the actual client that you have. And normally,
right,
if you're a technical company, but the images, so there's a couple of layers here. You have to have images of authority in your proposal somewhere. So if you're a coach, have an image of you talking to a person or coaching a client. Like for me, I'm a coach, but I'm also a speaker. So I have a couple of pictures of me speaking. That gives me authority It's not just a headshot of, the professional headshot that everyone tilts their head and has all that. You need some sort of action picture of you helping a client. And there's also a success image. Now, here's another big mistake people make with their proposals. The proposal comes in the mail or becomes a PDF, and they have a big picture of their logo on the front. And it's all about, proposal prepared for Joe Smith by, Big Bob's, construction company. And there's a picture of a construction, a backhoe and the logo of the company. That's all about you.
Yeah.
That front page picture should be a success picture. Someone with their hands in the air with a great big smile on their face that says, yes, has nothing to do with construction, has nothing to do with anything, but it's a person who's feeling success. On the front of my proposal, I have a guy with his hands in the air, and I have a woman. She's like jumping off of a rock with this, like, I'm doing this kind of thing with a big smile on her face. Nothing to do with sales, nothing to do with marketing. Those are success pictures. And then I put at the top of the proposal what we're talking about, whether it's sales training or whatever it is. So it would be the same thing. Don't put a picture of your logo or your company on that front page, but inside have pictures of authority. Okay. I would tend to lean away from graphs and stuff unless you have like a case study that you feel is needed to be put into the proposal. And I think the testimonials and case studies are very important. But here's the one thing that I forgot to mention. At some point in your proposal, you want the customer to know the feeling of what it's like to do business with you. Know the feeling of what it's like to own your product or use your service. So that's the success feeling that they want to have, and I even have a paragraph. Imagine how your office would run with copy machines that put out twice the amount of output. Simple sentence, but now it gets them thinking, yes, now this is me. I'm imagining this. This is what this company can help me with, rather than saying our copy machine can do double the output. So look at that sentence and imagine what your office would feel like if you had a copy machine that doubled the output. It's complete, same exact sentence with same exact result for the copy machines, but the feeling is much different in the second sentence. So that's how I would answer that question. That first picture needs to be a success picture, some pictures of authority. If it's a company and not a person, the authority then is you guys, a construction company would actually be building something, stuff like that.
Right.
And then the feeling of owning your product and service.
Cool. Yeah, that goes back to kind of the way you were talking about flipping the results more into the sort of like the impact, the benefit that they'd feel rather than just the feature or the like logistic change that's happening because of what you're doing. Ties back to what you were saying earlier on, that people buy the benefit and they buy because of emotion. They don't buy because of the feature. So if you can both show that to them in the negative way early on, like here's the negative impact if you don't, and then later on, here's the positive impact if you do, you get kind of an emotional attachment to both. It's like, oh, I don't like the negative one. And then they're like, oh, but I do like the positive one.
I do like this. And
I would like to feel that way.
Yeah, I'd like to feel that way. And you kind of know, you look at the proposal like, yeah, I mean, he's right or she's right. I don't want to continue down this road, which is why we're having this conversation. And the other thing is, you don't want your product or service to be viewed as a commodity. And when you do that, when you just say the same thing everyone else is, now they're just looking at the price. And you want them to realize that you have so much value, the price becomes almost a no-brainer. And then that's how you position the pricing as well, which we can talk about in a few minutes.
Definitely. One last question on the kind of structure and the images and stuff. So on that front page, you want your success image, whatever kind of makes sense with the solution that you're providing. If your aim with that first page is to be really like customer centric and tie back to what they do, why would you maybe not incorporate their logo or a picture of their company? What's your feeling around that kind of success image versus an image that's related to that company?
I don't think that's you can do that if it's their logo. I don't think it's a big deal. To be honest, I've never used a company logo on any of my proposals. I just talk about them from a human to human standpoint. And again, if it's B2B, you can certainly use their logo. Everybody uses the other customer's logo. So it's But again, don't be using you can put your logo like at the bottom, at the header or the footer, things like that. So it comes across as your logo, but don't lead with that. You want to lead with the success, and you can write, prepared for, Sarah Hicks and your company logo. That'd be great. And then I've seen proposals where it's your logo and then the customer's logo near it in the header or the footer. That's all fine. I think that's totally fine. I wouldn't worry about that. But it's really, that is putting the focus on you, on the customer rather than you, which is good. Just don't overdo it, because it's I don't know. It kind of, you put you in the pool of what everybody else does.
Right. Makes sense.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. Let's dive into pricing and how you show all that in the proposal in the best way.
Yeah. So this is another huge thing for folks. I do a whole course on pricing. It's a whole chapter in my book. Pricing is one of the biggest things that not only companies get wrong, but reps struggle with the most as far as when they talk to a customer. They're afraid of their price. They don't know how to present the price. They get nervous when the price comes up. And most of the time, if they're speaking, let's say it's a B2C and you're selling windows or roofing or something, and you're sitting in someone's house, you get to the price, the customer's always shocked because you didn't properly condition the customer to get to that point. But that's a whole nother story. In a proposal, if you can, I know some companies can't do this because of how they're structured, but if you're creative, you can do this. You have to come up with 3 options for the customer to choose from. So for me, when I'm speaking to like one-on-one coaching or sales training, I'm going to give them 3 different options to choose from, whether it's a 4-week program, a 6-week program, or an 8-week program. Or it's a half-day training, a full-day training, or a weekend training. 3 options to choose from. The brain loves 3, going back to the plan, the 3-step plan. The brain loves 3. But here's what that does. It changes the thought process, the mental process of the prospect from, am I going to hire Sarah, to what package am I going to choose to work with Sarah? So it goes into a buying process or a buying mental state rather than, I'm not sure if I want to work with you. Because imagine if you got a pretty nice proposal, you're excited, and then you just see the price as $6,000. Like, oof, a little more than I want to spend. Close the proposal, goes to the side. But imagine if you see $24.97, $34.97, and $59.97, whatever, those 3 prices. Now you at least say, okay, I can't really do the big one, but I'd like to start with her on the smaller package. And again, there's a whole different course I can talk about on how to position that properly, but give yourself 3 choices, or give the prospect 3 choices, and make sure that, again, we can get into a lot of different things, but a lot of people point people toward the middle choice. Here's the other part of this. So here's the second half of this. Let's say you have 3 choices, and your best choice is your best package. That usually is someone's best package is their best choice. Like for me, the 8-week training session is my best package. That's when I know that the client is going to get the best out of me. I'll have a 4-week one if they can't afford it. The 6-week one, the middle one, is only there to get them to the larger package. So for example, let's say, let's pick a company let's say with the copy machine example. So let's say the copy machine is, you can do 5 copy machines, and that's what they want. So you have, the first option is 5 copy machines for $100 a month. The middle one is 5 copy machines for a year subscription or a year lease. And the other one is 5 copy machines for 2 years. If your pricing makes sense where they know they want to do the 2 years, you make that third price the no-brainer price. So let's say that price is, in your head, is $3,000. So instead of making $3,000, you make it $29.97. But the middle price is $24.97 for 1 year. Well, like you be thinking, well, why would I buy 1 year when I can get 2 years for another $500? The monthly becomes like, well, I'm not going to do monthly. I want to do a long-term, and it just becomes the no-brainer. But here's what happens mentally. If you guide people toward the middle option, which most companies do, if you look at a website, they're always vertical and you always want you to pick the middle option. You think as the customer, okay, I just picked the middle option. I'm average. I can't really afford their best product. I'll use them, but I'm only going to pick and they're going in thinking, meh, I'm not getting the best stuff.
Right.
But if you actually
know there's a better option.
Yeah. If you say, oh, wow, look at this option. It's only another $500 or $497. I'm getting their best package. This is a great deal. Now you're excited. You spend a little more money, but you feel the value of it. You get the best package and the best profit margin as the company, but the customer feels great because they got the best package as well. So put it in 3 and position your pricing to the point where that main package is your best package for the customer.
That makes sense. Yeah, I totally understand why you want to guide them to the biggest package, why you want to give them the 3, have them feel like they have the ownership at the end there, that they're making their own decisions. What about in the case where a company has like a very specific ideal customer profile where really any one client only has one, offering that they can choose from? Do you think you should sort of fabricate the 3 so that they feel that they've got a choice when it's just not really there? Or what do you think?
No, I mean, that when you have something specific like that, where it's really only one item or one coaching session. Now, normally you can get pretty creative. I haven't met too many companies that can't figure out how to offer 3 different things. Right. But if you can't, then you got to kind of supersede that on the conversation prior to the proposal. And then you have to price condition. You cannot have the price a surprise.
Got it. Yeah.
So if I'm talking to you, Sarah, and I have one option and it's $3,000, and I don't mention price at all, and I just say, we have a nice conversation, I send you the proposal, no matter what my price is, you're going to be surprised. You're just gonna be like, oh my God, that's more than I thought. Or, well, okay, that's what I thought, but I'm scared of the price. But if during our conversation, I say to you, what do you think coaching like this normally goes for? $2,000 or $8,000? You would probably say, well, hopefully somewhere in the middle. I just anchored 2,000 to 8,000 in your brain. And when you get my proposal for 3, now it feels a lot better.
Closer to 2. Yeah.
Yeah,
feels way better.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
okay.
In that situation, price condition during the conversation. And it's a good idea to do that anyway, but it's specifically in that situation is very important.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, let's talk about kind of the repeatability and the kind of standardization or systematization, or whatever you want to call it, of proposals. Because of course we need to scale, we need to know how to do this at a large scale, but we don't want these proposals to be carbon copies of one another. How do you sort of templatize or how do you make this more efficient?
Well, there's quite a few proposal software out there, websites. There's Newsy, there's Proposify, there's 2 or 3 others that I looked at. Just find the one that works for you and that's the easiest for you. I personally use Proposify because you can create a template, but then obviously you can change the template and then you can make that a new template, but you can change. What I like about this particular website is you can change the section within the template. So you can say, okay, here's the template, but I don't want this section doesn't pertain to this customer. I can take it out and grab another section and put it in there. So you're not constantly recreating sections. You're kind of cutting and pasting but you absolutely have to spend that time making sure the customer feels like it's not a template. It's a proposal that was written specifically for them. You have to talk about your conversation. That's why I think the key to my proposal is that very first page that says based on our conversation, because I want, it's just not boilerplate crap, nice having a conversation. By the way, this is what our company's about. Yeah. I get right into the conversation that we had. I record it, I look at it, I take notes and I refer to those notes. And I've had many customers say, I was impressed with what you wrote in that first page because I didn't even remember we spoke about half of that stuff. So very, very important to do that. But yeah, you obviously use a template software. You have to do that. Otherwise you'll go crazy. But once you have it all set up, you then have to really personalize that individual proposal.
And what is the impact of this? So we talked about at the very beginning, what a lot of companies are getting wrong, putting all that stuff about them right at the top, the features at the top. And of course, salespeople are losing deals there. And we've talked about some of the reactions that people might be having and where kind of, the hesitation or the losing deals comes from. So on the flip side, if salespeople are getting this right and they're structuring the proposals the way we've talked about today, what is the impact that they're going to see?
more sales. They're going to see more sales. They're going to see the bottom line go up. And they're also going to, I don't know, for me, sales, one of my big things is how you feel as a salesperson and how the customer feels about you. You know, one of the main points in my book is people don't want to talk to you. You're a salesperson. Even if I know I need the product, I still am like, oh, I got to talk to a sales consultant. I got to talk to a rep. I don't want to do it. Let me get myself prepared. I'm going to go through the Zoom call, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to sit here and get my eyes glazed over. But when you do something like this, when you start it with a good conversation, you follow up with a proposal that's all about the prospect. I'm just going to feel good about you. I'm going to be like, this guy really understands me. This woman paid attention. She understands me. She's just not trying to sell me just like everyone else. I really like this. It's backed up in the proposal. And then you wrap it up with, with the sale. The proposal software, make sure it has an ability to sign and purchase online. You don't want any mailing going back and forth, or you can do DocuSign, but the good proposal software, literally you click a button, it signs your name, takes you right to the payment page, and they get you the credit card.
Right. Makes sense.
When they're in the buying, when they're saying yes in their head, they want to actually do it right that minute. If they have to wait a day, they may change their mind. Yeah. So during the emotion of saying, I want to do this, that's when they have to sign and send you their payment.
Okay, awesome. Well, you've taken us through the whole proposal. I'd love at the end here just to do a little quick, like bang, bang, bang recap of what the elements are as we're walking through that proposal.
The final thing at the end of the proposal, don't forget this, is the call to action. In that the last page, you want to say, I'm glad we had this conversation. The next step is to choose your package, sign the proposal, and I'll take it from there. That's how I have it. But to summarize, you want that hook, you want that based on our conversation page about the customer and their problem. You don't want to talk about yourself. And there's a couple of things I'm going to kind of go through a little quick outline. So the hook, based on our conversation, talking about the customer, you then want to go into the plan. What is the next step? This is how easy it is to work for me. You then want to get into the pricing. So position your pricing, which is your investment. From there, you want to get into some testimonials. I want you to know that people are very happy working with me. Here are just a few who have sent me some testimonials, and you put the testimonials in, and then you talk about the company. So then you're going to have one page about the company. If they want, most people don't even read that page because they're very happy with everything they said, but have something in there. So I have a little bio section in mine, and then the call to action. So those are your 5 steps of a really good proposal. And the beauty of this is it's going to be unlike the majority of the other proposals that they're getting. The other proposals are starting about the company. They're showing graphs, they're showing charts, showing all this stuff. And they hardly ever talk about the customer. So hopefully that's helpful.
Yeah, absolutely. It absolutely is. Well, thank you so much for joining us on the show and walking us through all of that. If people want to learn more from you, if they want to get in touch with you, where can they do that?
So they can find me on LinkedIn under Allan Langer. It's Allan Langer. My website, however, is Al Langer because Allan Langer wasn't available. So it's allanger.com, ALLANGER. And you'll find all my stuff, my book and my podcast. I have my own podcast as well. So everything is in one of those 2 places.
Yeah, absolutely. That's great. And we'll make sure to drop a link in as well for where you guys can find the 7 Secrets to Selling More by Selling Less, which was Allan's book. But yeah, thank you so much for joining us. It was a pleasure having you.
Oh, Sarah, this was a lot of fun. Thanks for having me.
Thanks everyone for watching. We'll catch you next time.
Bye now.